and I'll share it on my channel.
Okay, we are live. And Julia, tell me, how do we pronounce the thing that we're doing? How is that pronounced?
I hear people say mukbang.
Mukbang? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I hear, mukbang, but mukbang I think is more Korean because this started actually in South Korea. The mukbang like craze like was popular there, like I would say 2010 or so, and then it's just kind of caught on more internationally, and now they're like just really popular, you know, everywhere now basically. So I'm gonna share the link so everybody can watch us doing it. Let me make sure I'm doing it right.
I'm going to do that too because I have to share it on Facebook.
Doesn't seem like, hold on, trying to make sure. I feel like I'm not doing this right. Just want to make sure I got it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just going to share it on Twitter for my.
Okay, you're sharing on Twitter, you said?
Yeah, I'm going to share it on Twitter because otherwise certain people can't see it. So I'm going to share this on Twitter.
I don't mean to be like so slow when I'm sharing. I just can't, like, I would think to just share automatically. I don't like the change. Like, I don't see how
terrible that change.
Why they decided to change it. But anyway, I guess that's just how it is now. So let me see if I got it. I never feel like I get it. Okay, I finally got it on Facebook, and I think I'm just gonna only worry about Facebook when we're live because it just seems like sometimes the more I share it, I don't know if it's. I feel like we got more views last night with me only sharing it once on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Or unless it was on your end, maybe it was the views on your end, like Twitter.
I don't know. I guess I could share it one more place just doing this.
Yeah, but I will keep sharing it, of course. I mean, there was that one time where I felt like I shared the live stream a lot and didn't get as many views at one time. So anyway, I have hummus, I have like lettuce, but it's kind of hard to see it like from angle I'm at, I guess. I don't know. I'll try and see if I can get a better angle. It's kind of hard to see it. Okay, so I did share it on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna copy the link and I'm also gonna share it.
Okay, so I did share it on Facebook.
Let me just share it on my other. I'm going to create a post on my other channel. We are eating together. I'm just going to say that and let them try to figure out what I meant by that.
Okay, yeah.
All right. That's good enough. So show me your food.
Okay. I have hummus. I have romaine lettuce. And I have these cabbage rolls that my mom made me. And I have to unwrap them because I microwaved them before we went live.
Okay, well, I'll share you.
They're just like, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I see your lettuce and
the cabbage roll.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. Very nice.
At Costco, they just have like these little hummuses, and I don't think it's the best hummus on earth, but if you add other things to it, it tastes a little bit better. But to me, it's just really bland. Like, I think hummus needs more spices.
No, I put paprika on it.
Yeah, it's really good. That would probably make it taste better. I've put like hot sauce in it before, but I just don't know what it is about the Costco hummus. It's just like the blandest hummus I've ever had. But
this is my meat. I prepared the meat before, and this is my hummus, and it's got paprika on it.
Oh, it's good.
And I have a mandarin orange.
Nice. And you have that beautiful china too that you use often, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to try to use chopsticks just because I like to eat with my hands, but I don't think that's going to look very good. So I'm going to, what I'm doing is I'm dipping my meat in the hummus.
I like how you say it. You say it the proper way. I try to say hummus correctly, but it sounds so Americanized.
Well, I say it the Israeli way, but you know, I'm obviously not an Arabic speaker, so it doesn't sound the way an Arabic speaker
I don't even know if I say it their way either. I think it's just very Americanized the way I say it. I would like to be corrected.
And I don't know if you know, but Summer is on my shoulder.
I can see her. She's cute. I like the sounds that she makes. It's very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be fun to have a bird. I don't think I could because of the cat, but if I ever didn't have a cat, I kind of am interested now watching all your videos now and having a bird, and I never thought about it before.
Yeah, it's actually the cockatiels who are making most of the sound, and they're in the cage. They are a pair, so they don't have to come out as much.
So Summer's not really making, it's this cockatiels. Okay, that's good to know.
Summer is grooming my sweater.
I can see them actually now that I look. And I'm just drinking coffee because I don't know about you, Aya, but I hate this thing like, ooh, we need to drink like tons of water every day. But I just kind of like a little bit of coffee.
Well, I drank a lot of coffee all morning, but I better not drink. For me, this is afternoon, so I'm going to drink coffee now. So I just have my trusty club soda.
Those are good. And you know, actually what they said about like drinking lots of beverages, it's not good. You know how they gave us this advice, by the way, that you should drink a lot of water before you eat? It's actually, there were some doctors that said that's actually not good because then it will make your stomach not digest the food properly or make you feel like you have a stomach ache. So I was glad to actually read about that. And it kind of validated what I always felt anyways. It's like, why would I drink a gallon of water before I eat? You know?
I wouldn't do that at all. You know, and I'm not a big water drinker either. It's just that now that I don't drink Coca-Cola anymore, there's not a lot left.
Well, I like the sparkly water, kind of like what you have. And when I buy it at the store, people are like, ew, this tastes like Alka-Seltzer. Like, I get that reaction. Like, there's this one that was really popular in California. This one, the Arrowhead one, because this is the local brand that we have. So everybody drinks Arrowhead because it's from the San Bernardino Mountains. But I had some lady tell me the other day when I bought, she goes, ew, that tastes like Alka-Seltzer. How can you drink it?
Well,
yeah, I like it.
Yeah, you have to get used to the taste of the water without a flavoring. But once you get used to it, it's not bad at all.
Well, I think it's fine. Well, this one is 0 calorie. It just has like the essence of the lime. So it doesn't have calories or anything in it. It's just like a sparkly water.
Right. Well, this has like some sodium in it.
Oh,
but
cool. Not like a flavor.
Right.
That's cool. So what are you guys doing there?
What are me and, are you talking about me and Summer?
Yeah, to you and Summer, like, what are you going to be doing today?
Oh, well, what am I going to do today? I'm probably going to fill out a bunch of government forms, some American forms, some Israeli forms. Not fun stuff.
Oh, speaking of that, I've been talking to a lot of the people because people get really stressed out the sooner it gets to tax season. And they're like, they don't know, like, because some people are getting more money back now. Some people are having to pay more. And the new tax revamp is confusing people. And they're like, ugh. Like, a lot of people seem really stressed out about it. That's another thing I've been hearing about forms lately.
Yeah, that's part of the forms I'm doing. Yeah, it's about that time. I can't ignore the government right now, and I can't turn my back on it. And I have to deal with 2 governments, so. 3 if you count.
I'll be right back.
3. Okay.
Sorry. I just had to grab something really quick. I was going to put on the headphones so I can hear better. Look, I can't hear. Oh, where did my webcam go? I lost it.
Well, I think it's looking at the ceiling.
I'm still here. I'm just trying to fix something. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's see if this works. I don't know if I can hear anything now. Let's see. Can I hear anything?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure there's sound not coming out of the speaker, I think. Okay, I think this is better. I can hear a little bit better. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can. Hey, look, I can lift the hummus with my chopsticks and it still hasn't fallen down.
Wow, that's pretty clever. I never hummus with chopsticks. You invented something.
Yeah.
That could be a story. Hummus with chopsticks. I just could see like the story kind of forming out of that.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just eating it with like lettuce. I don't really have like a special way that I eat hummus. I just like to eat it with lettuce. I guess that's my favorite thing now because I don't like the pita bread with the hummus because it would make me feel too full quickly.
Well, you see, then you have the same issue that I have. I mean, I used to eat it with pita bread, but now that I can't, I'm trying not to have that much bread, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I like pita bread occasionally, but I feel like I just never really enjoyed the hummus. And I feel like some people, they just want to eat like maybe a little bit of the hummus, but I like to eat more than that.
Yeah.
And if you eat it by itself with a spoon, or you could eat it with meat like you do, or just like lettuce or vegetables, I feel like you can enjoy it more than, I don't know. That's my opinion. But I like it with the lettuce. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and Bo just commented, I don't know if you heard him, but he went, which meant that he agreed with you.
And I might not be the best mukbanger. Like, I know that it's probably not very neat how I do the mukbang, but sorry, it's just how I do.
I don't know anything about it. And I have been told I am not a very pleasant eater.
You know, I think there's people that like this, though. Like, a lot of people really hate this kind of thing. But then there's people, like I told you, it's really popular starting in Korea now worldwide because there's people that like to watch people eat. Like, there are some people, like, there's this one channel, like, the whole thing is just about watching the person eat. And that's it. And talking. And so there are some people who really like it. And then there's some people who hate it, I guess. I don't know. It can go either way.
I guess, but I'm supposed to eat with my mouth completely closed, and I don't know how to do that. So
I don't know, but I know that's considered really polite, but I see a lot of people not do that. So I'm like, are there some people like, you can't, like, you have to do it this way, and this way. But then I see a lot of people, they're talking and eating at the same time when they're driving. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I have trouble breathing. So sometimes my mouth is open when other people's mouths are not open just because I'm trying to breathe.
Okay, that's the same thing with me. I breathe through my mouth and not through my nose.
Oh, really?
When I used to go to the dentist, they got so mad at me, like, because they told me to breathe through my nose when they were doing a procedure, but I would be like, I can't breathe. And I finally, like, when I started going to that Loma Linda School of Dentistry, they were a bit better because they finally kind of got it. But some of my old dentists, like the one I was telling you about, the preventative dentist, he was such a, I don't know, like, he was not the best dentist to begin with because he was just having me see the hygienist all the time. But his main gripe was, you have to, like, oh, you can't have your mouth open this way because I'm trying to drill. And I was like, but I can't breathe. And yeah, so I breathe through my mouth too.
Yeah. You've disappeared. Have you gone someplace?
Sorry?
I don't see you.
Oh, you don't see me at all? Oh, I just realized it. Sorry. My camera was aiming at the ceiling this whole time. That's embarrassing. I guess when it fell, like, I didn't reposition it correctly.
Yeah, I never know when I should comment on something like that because I don't want to tell people what to do with their camera.
I like it. You know what? Honestly, be honest with me. Like, I would prefer If people just told me things. I don't like it when people hint. Like I told you this the other day, where somebody hinted to me something. And I don't know, like I don't pick up on hints. I'm sorry that I don't pick up on that. But if maybe you had just told me what you meant, I would have got it the first time as opposed to hinting.
Right.
I didn't get it. And then they're like, but you didn't get my hint. And then they got mad at me because I didn't get the hint.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't mind. Like, please tell me if my camera goes
Okay. I will. I will.
But I am enjoying how Summer sits on your shoulder. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. And he's not even trying to steal any of my food. He just wants to groom my sweater.
Aww. So is Bo like get kind of upset when you guys are inside eating?
No, because I had lunch with Bo already. Bo and I already had lunch, and then I just saved some meat and some of the hummus and this for my meal with you and Summer. So
nice.
Bo is happy. He's got his sleeping bag. He asked for a sleeping bag because he likes to take a nap or at least lie down and relax right after lunch.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Like it kind of gives him time to do his own little thing, I think, you know, because that's nice. So, yeah, my cat's still kind of acting funny. She likes right here, but when I do the mukbangs or the live stream in the kitchen, it's very exciting, and she's like sitting right there watching.
Yeah, Summer wants to be involved in everything in the kitchen.
I think the cat likes the sound of the birds. Like, I think she's excited she can hear the birds. I think that might be why she's out here.
Can she see Summer?
She's not that far out here. She's just kind of in the corner.
But
she's like over there. I don't know. She's still doing this thing where she's scared because apparently the thunder was just really bad. I don't know how it is where you live, but here in Southern California, you can have like rain and thunder in one area, like one little microclimate, because we have like this Mediterranean climate. And then 5 miles away, you could maybe have rain and some thunder, but it's not as strong. But apparently it was so strong here. And she's been acting like this ever since that day.
Oh. Well,
she doesn't like the thunder, but now it's like she just wants to hide, I guess. I don't know. She's really scared still. It's a long time, but oh well.
Well, we had a lot of rain yesterday and thunder.
Is it like where you'll have it in one area and then like 5 miles down the road it's not raining?
It's kind of like that. You know, my friend Kathy Freeze, you've met her. She was telling me that my forsythia is much more blooming, you know, is much more open with its blooms right now than hers. And she doesn't live that far away, you know. So I think we must have microclimates.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I just think it's so weird because people are like, did you see the rain? And I'm like, it didn't rain here. Sorry, I didn't see it.
Yeah, well, a few weeks ago, there was supposed to have been hail, really large hail in this area, but we didn't get any.
I was going to ask you, so where's the Israeli consulate now for you guys? Is it like far away or is it close by?
It's very far away. It's in Atlanta.
Why? Georgia. Is there a reason that they can't have a closer one?
They decided that the whole state of Missouri has moved from the Midwest to the Southeast.
Huh. That doesn't seem very convenient because what if you're traveling, like you're Israeli and you're traveling in the Midwest, so you have to go and you need like an emergency passport or something. What you have to go all the way to Atlanta to get it?
Depends on what state you're a resident of. Missouri. They transferred Missouri to Atlanta, and they transferred Kansas to Houston.
Huh. Okay. I was just curious about all that because it just seems like it's not very convenient for people, but I guess there's a reason for it.
My problem is I can't talk to a person. I need to talk to a person, and they have everything so that you can never reach a person unless you actually go all the way to Atlanta.
Hmm. I almost wonder if I can do the speakers a little bit better. I just figured something out. I think I can plug it into here and hear it better. Maybe.
Well, I'm sitting further away from my computer so that you can see my food.
Oh, it's not you. It's just like I'm just trying to keep the sound down because like I just didn't want it to be really loud. So can you still hear me right now, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
So I discovered something. I was looking at my speaker and I was like, it has a headphone jack, so I can just plug it in there and I can get the sound that way.
Okay.
I was just trying to find a way. So anyway, does Summer eat some of the hummus? Does she like it or he? I mean, I know Summer's a he.
No, so far he has not tried it at all. He does eat oatmeal.
Oh,
I made oatmeal for Bo.
Mm-hmm.
He's got oatmeal up on his loft over there, his play area above his cage.
That's cool. I have mixed emotions about oatmeal. Like I sometimes think I don't want to eat it, but then I'll make it and I like it. It just depends. Like I have this love-hate relationship with oatmeal. Like I like it, but when I think about it, I don't like it.
Yeah, it tastes better than you would think it would.
I don't know how you make it, but I like to add like just apples and cinnamon to it, and not really sugar, but I just like that. Do you just eat it plain or?
No, for Bo, I make it with milk, whole milk,
mm-hmm.
and brown sugar.
Oh, that sounds good. It's kind of like a play on like rice pudding or something, kind of.
Right, exactly. It tastes like a dessert, and I had better not eat it, you know.
Yeah, it's for him because he's more active, so he probably likes that, right? Like he eats.
Oh yeah, he loves it. And then Summer loves it too.
That's cool.
Summer has a small amount. I can show you Summer's dish. It's kind of, you know, it was warm, but now it's cold because he didn't eat it. But this is what.
Ooh, that's cool. Like. I like it. I wonder if we got anybody watching. I'm just gonna check real quick to see, but I don't see anybody commenting yet. I feel like the last few live streams we haven't been getting comments as much, and I don't know why.
We did actually get a comment on our last live stream.
Oh, we did. Okay, so I missed it, I guess, when it was live.
But it was hidden because it was basically somebody wanting us to like his stuff.
Oh, spam.
Yeah,
that happens a lot. Like I thought they kind of cleared some of that stuff out, but then it pops back up again once in a while.
Well, I mean, they didn't actually show it, but it's there.
Oh, it's one of the hidden. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I really like now I'm dipping parts of the cabbage roll in hummus and it makes the hummus taste better.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I prefer, you know, I don't eat vegetables that much anymore, but I always prefer cabbage to lettuce.
Yeah,
cabbage had more flavor.
It does. You're right. You're definitely right. I don't really like iceberg lettuce that much, but I like romaine. It's a little bit better. It's not like my favorite, but it's okay. Just like for dipping, I feel like.
Yeah. Well.
So are we going a little bit too long for Bo? Like how long did you want to continue on with our mukbang? Just so.
Well, we can go for an hour.
Okay.
I'm actually done eating, but we can continue and we can talk too. So I thought there were a couple of topics we were thinking about talking about, but I guess one of them was with regard to Japanese Americans being sent to the camps.
Yes, let's talk about that. That is a very good topic because I feel like people are they don't seem very empathetic. And it's people that would probably claim to be empathetic. But I don't want to call anybody out, but I was a little appalled when I reread that. And it bothered me a little bit. I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah, can you tell our listeners what it is we're talking about without implicating the names of anybody.
Oh, no. I don't want to go into anything. Maybe people don't know. Maybe they just, okay. So let's just be honest. There are problems with racism throughout U.S. history. And sometimes people that might feel that they're really empathetic don't know about certain things, like Asians, especially in California, were very discriminated against. There's a good movie about this that people could watch called Come See the Paradise, where there's this young woman named Lily, and this white American man meets her and he falls in love with her. And he's very confused because her father operates a movie theater. And he asks, like, does she own it? And does he own it? And Lily says no, because people born in Japan at that time period, any Asian person couldn't own land or property. They could lease a movie theater, they could lease like a store, but they couldn't own like land to operate a business. And this was in California.
Wow.
In California at that time, when Lily and I wish I remember his name, they fell in love and they wanted to get married. They weren't legally allowed to get married in California. They actually had to go to Washington to get married. So anyway, like, there were laws in place at that time period that basically barred anybody born in Asia from becoming a citizen. If they were born in the US, they were citizens, of course, but that meant that the parents were not citizens. So when World War II came about, there was mass panic and it was racism. We can say that it wasn't, but of course it was racism, because let's be honest, like, if somebody's a little different, they're going to be treated different. And I read a story where this girl said she was scared riding the bus because she was born in America. She spoke English. She didn't speak Japanese, but people on the bus were saying they should round up all the Japanese people, take them to the ocean and shoot them into the sea. And she was really scared. She would have nightmares that, Mom, is somebody going to come round me up? So basically the Japanese, as you know, were rounded up. They had to give all their possessions away. They could take one.
And that was an executive order signed by Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Yes, yes.
So he was absolutely responsible for this atrocity.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, maybe he was really happy. Like, my opinion, he probably didn't like Japanese people to be so adamant to just pass that executive order like that.
Well, I mean, I have to think that he was a racist. I cannot think any other way about it.
I think he was a racist. Like, we're still ready to point this out with Woodrow Wilson, but there's a lot of cult of celebrity about FDR. I think we just don't. Liberals will never call him out on that, will they?
No, and the thing is, this is like the second time this year this has come up, because before it was about the actual executive order being signed, and there was a meme, but it left out FDR as the president who signed it. So they said an American president, and they wouldn't say which one. And that's pretty bad, because you kind of need to know which one did it.
Yes, you have to know, for sure.
Okay, and so now, and when I was talking about this on Facebook the last time, when that was specifically about the executive order, today it was about the people actually being shipped off to the camps. But at that time, all sorts of people came up and said, yes, it was terrible that that happened, but people were panicked or people were scared. And I said, well, I'm really sorry that FDR was scared. But, you know, I don't really think that he was scared. I don't think that little children and women and families living in California scared him. I'm sorry, but I just don't believe that. But anyway, today, again, that whole thing about it was based on fear. So it's all about fear. And I don't think it's fear. I think it's racism. I'm sorry.
It is racism. And maybe also he was embarrassed because the Japanese planned that sneak attack. So I think he was kind of embarrassed too. It was fear, racism. It wasn't fear, it was racism. But I think
he was waiting for them to do something. The other thing is, you know, because I did research this when I was writing Our Lady of Kaifeng. And I don't know if you remember, but in the first book, and this was in 1941, Mr. Sesame already knew there was going to be a war with Japan. How did he know? Because in the papers, it had Americans had stopped shipments, had stopped some ships with goods belonging to the Japanese and were holding them. Why were they doing that if they didn't want a war?
Well, yeah, they were kind of planning it, and we did stop scrap metal shipments to Japan in 1937. So we kind of knew that was going to happen. I mean,
they confiscated some things belonging to the Japanese, is what I'm saying.
That I didn't know about. That's sad. Wow.
So he really was. FDR wanted to get into the war. He didn't know that Pearl Harbor specifically was going to happen, but he needed for something to happen.
So,
and he.
Yeah, it was probably the isolationists that kind of scared him too, because a lot of people weren't wanting to go to war. That was a time period where America didn't want to go to war unless they had a reason. So he was waiting for the reason. Right.
So the reason happened, and he was happy, and he made that speech about infamy, a day to live in infamy. And I think he should live in infamy because of what he did to the American citizens who were shipped off to concentration camps, which makes us not really any better than all the other sides of the war, where stuff like that happened.
No, we weren't better. I mean, it was horrible what happened, really. And a lot of it was in California, let's be honest. And California claims to be such a liberal state, such a loving state, embracing all people, but we kind of do gloss over that part of history. And I think Japanese Americans are still very hurt by it, because Ronald Reagan signed an executive order saying he was going to have reparations to the Japanese Americans, and most people never saw a dime. It was just kind of lip service. And
the thing about reparations, it never, I don't know. I don't think that ever really works. It doesn't take back what was done.
No, it doesn't. And all those families, they lost their businesses. Most people never moved back to California. A lot of them moved to the Midwest, and I guess they commented that they experienced less racism in the Midwest than they did in California, because basically in California, there was a lot of racist attitudes. So it makes me think, California being such a populous state, I wonder, this is just another thought, maybe FDR didn't like the Japanese, but maybe that was another reason for him to do what he did right away,
Well, it could be.
I think he probably was racist. I mean, let's be honest. Like, we can say that Woodrow Wilson was, but we don't want to say that about FDR. I'm not sure why.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty strange talking about fear causing this. And so I mentioned the War of 1812. The enemy was the British. We were at war with the British, and they were scary. They were very scary. They went around burning down houses, raping women. They did terrible things. They never paid reparations for what they did. But
they burned the White House. I mean, come on, let's be real,
And they never paid for it.
No, definitely not.
And we never, during that war, President Madison did not sign an executive order that people from British ancestry had to be in a concentration camp. So
no, he didn't. But it seems like, okay, some people, I mean, I would never say, but some people think that's okay, because a lot of people in America have British ancestry, which I don't think that makes it okay, just because I think actually it's the other way around. We're supposed to protect minorities, by the way. We're supposed to respect the minority view. And actually, New Amsterdam was better at this than the British colonies were, because they had freedom of religion when they started their colony. But when the British invaded them in 1653 and turned New Amsterdam into New York, all the citizens refused to go along with becoming New York unless freedom of religion was respected. And there was actually a Jewish community in New Amsterdam in the early 1600s. When a lot of people protested against it, they said, no, we respect freedom of religion. Like, they didn't have like the Salem witch trials and all the things that happened in the British colonies, because of the Dutch culture being much more, we might not agree with each other, but we respect minority views, which I don't know if this is like a British, like, holdover to American viewpoint, but it seems like, oh, there's a minority view you might not agree with, but you seem okay with dismissing those people, and that bothers me a lot, actually. Because it happened after World War I too, with Prohibition, where, let's be real, nobody really wanted to ban liquor. They didn't want to ban liquor. They didn't really care about the drunks. What they did care about, though, was, xenophobia towards German Americans was very high at that point. These people were actually born in America, but they own breweries, and a lot of people drink beer. So let's pass prohibition to punish people of German ancestry.
Yeah. You know? Although I do think the suffragettes went on that bandwagon out of the idea of moral cleansing of the male population, because they were concerned about families that were broken down because of a drunkard husband. So there was that too.
Yeah, that's true. But it was mentioned in the legislation that they wanted to punish Germans or people of German ancestry. I mean, they banned teaching German in high school, like, because of World War I. And some of that was a holdover for a few years in some schools where you couldn't take German classes.
Wow.
Yeah, because of that, they banned teaching a language because...
I think every time that somebody has an idea that they're going to gang up against someone, somebody else attaches some kind of moral edict to it. Mm-hmm. And so they form a kind of coalition of bad people, people who want to get rid of a certain segment of the population, and other people who think that they can tell people what to eat or drink or how to live their lives. And they band together.
And it's not always for the better, actually, honestly.
It's usually for the worse. It's always for the worse, really.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, I just am surprised that people don't criticize FDR a little bit more about this. I mean,
well, I'm surprised that there are people actually going around saying that it wasn't racist because it was based on fear.
It was racism. Are you kidding me? Like, Asian population was...
I don't understand how you can say that fear justifies anything. It's like saying the Branch Davidians were burned down to the ground because people were afraid of them. But that it doesn't make any sense.
But it also kind of harkens back to, like, okay, after 9/11, there were girls that wore a headscarf. And I guess once that she went into Walmart and people were booing her, like, I guess they said it's okay to hate, like, anybody that looks different than us because of what some bad people did. It seems like this is a popular theme that pops up again and again. I'm not saying it's right, but it seems like people like to have a group of people that it's okay because we're scared of them. We're going to treat them as different, even though they're citizens of this country.
Yeah, I don't think that being scared is something that we should brag about, and it should never be an excuse for anything. I mean, if a mass shooter goes into a school and shoots people, and then we say, oh, he was scared. That's what it was. He was scared. That's why he shot those people. It doesn't make any sense.
And what I don't get is they keep telling us we're more dangerous now, but that's actually not the case. Statistically, I know not everybody loves statistics, but statistically, like, we're much safer and we live longer in this progressively over time than in the past. I mean, I don't know why they always talk about that issue. I don't even own a gun, but I'm so sick of the anti-gun people because that's all they ever talk about. They don't talk about anything else. And why do we need to ban something just because of one person that does a bad thing,
Well, I don't really think that that is what it is. I really believe that those people who are for banning guns are actually those who are also afraid that there might be a popular uprising and we will overturn everything that has taken away the rights in the Bill of Rights,
Oh, okay. Well, that could be. I just don't think that, like, personally, I'm not even interested in guns. I don't care, but I'm sick of that issue. It just seems like maybe that's what people are afraid of. I don't know.
It's just like the ACA thing. I mean, they imagine people being a certain way. The people who say are worried that they're going to lose their insurance because they have a pre-existing condition like to imagine the people who want to do away with the ACA as having certain belief systems, and they're scared of those people. They're really scared.
But I don't even know why, because if somebody thinks that an illness is God's punishment, I just feel kind of sorry for them because they don't know about science.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not the case. It is not the case that the people who are standing against ACA are
not
like it at all.
It's just because it's bad legislation, really. And kind of like what we were talking about last night, it's not free market, basically. It doesn't give people the right to choose. Isn't that probably the biggest problem with it?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the problem with everything. Prohibition was about not giving people the right to choose. Sending someone to a concentration camp is not giving someone the right to choose. And every violation of people's liberties is about not giving them the right to choose what they do with their own lives.
And by the way, when they finally had people ruling that the concentration camps for the Japanese were unconstitutional, there were some politicians, like almost 3 years after people were sent there, were finally on their side. But in order for Japanese Americans to get out, they had to sign an oath of loyalty. They had to enlist in the army. They had to do all these different things to get out of the camp, like the younger people, which I think is just appalling. Like, did any other Americans have to do these things?
Yeah, the whole oath of loyalty thing is something that they discussed, where it wasn't just an oath of loyalty, but it's like saying that they give up the Emperor of Japan. And in order to say that you give up your loyalty to the Emperor of Japan, it's like you have to first admit that you had loyalty to the Emperor of Japan. And some of those people didn't.
No, they didn't. They were born here. And a lot of them maybe spoke a little bit of Japanese that they took in a classical class, but they didn't even really speak Japanese. Like, some of them were third generation. You could be a quarter Japanese and be sent to those camps. I am a quarter Syrian. And I always think about that. You could be a quarter Japanese, and that's considered full Japanese. Like, that's legally considered the full ethnicity of something, like the quarter amount. For, like, let's say you apply for Native American scholarships, being a fourth quarter, that legally they use that amount. And I think that's appalling. Like, somebody that's a third generation person who's only a quarter Jap, not that it makes it right for a full.
Yeah, I don't think we should do any math about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, we should not even look at ethnicity as.
Oh, I wouldn't. But I'm just saying that was their determination. Nobody should have been sent to those camps at all. But
yeah, I think we can just stop it right there and say it was wrong, and it doesn't matter what degree of relatedness they had.
Yeah.
My point was, though, that some people refused to sign the loyalty oath, not because they were not loyal, because they thought that it would be like an admission that they hadn't been loyal and they had never been disloyal to the United States.
Yeah, I see. It was basically having to admit guilt for something that you never thought about or did.
Right. So a lot of people, actually, there were people who went and decided they were going to Japan because they felt that they had been mistreated by the United States. And in Our Lady of Kaifeng, the commandant of the camp, Commandant Izu, actually had been living in California, had been in one of the American concentration camps, and then had been repatriated to Japan. And then immediately they made him the commandant of that camp in China.
Yeah, and there were other movies like that one I was telling you, Come See the Paradise. There was this boy, he was born in California. He was completely Americanized. He loved like jazz music. But when they sent him to the camps, he was so angry. So guess what group he joined? at the camp. He joined a group of Japanese people that were saying, well, maybe there's something to having loyalty to our emperor, and he ended up having to go back to Japan as well, because he said, I'm not going to sign the, but he had probably been the most Americanized one in that movie of all his siblings, but he went the other way because of how they were treated at the camp.
Yeah. And you can do that. You can always do that. If you want to create racism in other people, you treat them that way and they will turn on you. And so, yeah, this is how the liberals are turning all sorts of people into, you know, hyphenated Americans, is by creating these categories. The government should be completely colorblind, and it should not pay any attention to anybody's ethnicity.
This is true, but do you think the problem goes back to the census when they were collecting that information and tracking people that way? Do you think maybe that's where it started as a problem?
Yeah, well, I don't think the census needs to say what anybody's ethnicity is. You can just find out how many people you have in each state and not do that.
The only reason I mention this is because I look at all the old census forms and it says, like, if you weren't born in the U.S., what country were you born in? Do you speak English? Do you write in English? Like, it was very detailed.
Okay, but when did that start? I mean,
it started towards the late 1800s where it got that detailed.
Yeah, that's when we had a lot more immigrants that we were keeping track of. Before that, anybody could really enter the country without going through all this garbage. So,
yeah. But, yeah, I think it's really horrible that why are we saying that it was okay that this group of people were discriminated against? It's really bad. Like, I don't think it's right at all that anybody feels okay about it or thinks it was fine at the time.
Right. Well, it wasn't. But
no.
The thing that worries me is that people don't recognize what is racism and what isn't.
Well,
maybe, I mean, a lot of people said, yes, that was terrible, but it was based on fear.
No, it was racism. It really was. I think what it comes down to is there's a cult of celebrity around FDR, and I used to be kind of like, really pro FDR, and I always knew, like, in the back of my mind, well, he was the one that signed that executive order, but for some reason, it never really, like, switched on in my mind. I guess I just kind of didn't pay enough attention to the fact that, well, you know, actually, he was the one who signed that. But then now Woodrow Wilson, people really love to hate on him, and they will call him out and be like, well, he did a screening of Birth of the Nation on White House, and he hated women and blah, blah, blah. But why is it okay to call him out but not FDR?
Yeah, it's a good question.
And I've thought about that lately because I'm like, I'm not as big of a Democrat anymore, but Democrats don't really, they won't call out their own, or they won't really admit things that they did that were wrong, you know, but they're always right.
Right.
So what else did you want to talk about with that issue?
Well, I think we've covered it. I think we've totally covered it. So we can go on. I do want to mention again that Leslie Fish is going to be our guest on my main channel on Friday. And Kelly Clear should be there too. And Leslie has asked me to invite a couple of other people, which if I will technically manage to get their attention, I will do.
Okay. So with the folk sing, it's folk sing, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, folk sing. Yeah, with an I.
With an I.
Okay.
Yeah, I always have to remind myself, but they come out of science fiction conventions, right? Where people were at hotels and they're very long, like they go into the hours of the morning, right? They go all night, basically.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a technical question, just in case I get really tired and I have to go home.
Yeah.
If I were to leave my computer on at Orchard House, do you think they could go through the whole night without me being there?
Yeah, they could, as long as your computer.
Okay.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they could. I mean, honestly, I don't think I could be up all night with them, but if they want to do that,
either. I have animals. When you have animals, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, I really commend people who can do that. Sometimes I stay up late doing things, but I kind of need to take a nap and stuff. I just can't do that.
Mm-hmm. I understand, but I figure I don't want to tell them they have to stop. If they want to keep going, they should keep going.
Oh yeah, so if you have your computer there, I wonder if maybe we can Google this too, if there's a way that like you won't be there anymore, but you could have like some sort of an image or something that you could see to just say like, but I guess it doesn't really matter because it'll be focusing on the person who's talking or singing, right?
Right. Exactly. It'll be focusing on them. The only thing I worry about is what happens when they all go away. It will still be open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'll still be open. So you would have to like go back in the early morning hours to turn it off. That's the only limitation.
I'm just wondering if there were any way to remotely turn it off. That's all, you know.
There might be. I guess you could say, I mean, maybe set an endpoint to it. There's probably a way you could. Maybe there's people who live stream their animals from home. And there are live streams like that. Like I just see random live streams. So I wonder if there's a way you could preset it where it turns off at this time of the night. So it gives them like a large amount of time to do that. But at a preset time, it just goes dead. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be great.
Maybe I can see if I can find that. There has to be a way to do it. Right?
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I think, because I don't want to tell them they have to go to bed just because I have to go to bed, you know?
No. I think you can, because I'm thinking there's people that do those kind of live streams with their animals in their house, and they do end at a certain point. So they preset it to end at a certain point. So, yeah, there's got to be a way to do it.
Good. Did you need that call?
No, it's just they keep calling to sell things. They sell a lot of things lately on the phone. I don't like the phone ringing constantly, but it always does around here. I'm sorry if it's disrupting, but am I keeping you and Bo from doing things at this point? I don't know how long we've been going.
Yeah, if you feel like we pretty much finished, then we can just say
okay.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay, well, you have a nice afternoon, Arya.
Okay, you too, Julia.
Bye.
Bye.